Shivon. How are you?
I'm great. How's your day been?
It's been a very busy day, but I'm relaxed and I'm looking forward to this chat.
Nice, nice. Thanks so much for coming on board. And basically, I saw you on LinkedIn, and I found that you have an interesting story to share. And I believe that it will empower the women out there who are listening to this particular section as well. Before we start, do you want to share a little bit more about yourself?
Absolutely. Before I share about myself, I would also like to thank you because it's a wonderful opportunity to be talking about leadership and aspects about women. So I really am very grateful to have the opportunity to share my thoughts. And I would be very pleased if it can even empower one person. I'm an IT consultant turned life coach.
Mhm.
And in my life coaching, I help people move forward in their life with clarity, stability, and enthusiasm. And I call that the achieve with equilibrium approach. Because I believe that sometimes when we are chasing goals, we may miss what is right in front of us. So, achieve with equilibrium is all about making life journeys as enjoyable as reaching destinations. So while people should achieve their goals, and they can also do it with clarity, they can do it with more stability and enthusiasm. So that's really what I'm very passionate about, and that's really what I am keen to offer as a life coach to whoever is looking forward to looking at their life journeys like that.
It's such an interesting way to put it. I personally feel, right, like your life experiences, there's so much that you can be passionate about. But once you can identify like what gives you satisfaction, what drives you, what motivates you, and you all put it all surrounding in terms of your work, your relationships, you find that you lead a more fulfilling life.
Yes, yes, yeah. And we have it, I think every one of us has that. It's just a matter of realignment. And then we can see things very clearly.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's really what I believe in. And my life has been a list of experiences, varied experiences, which has helped me understand the need for this so that, we are not just looking at what something in the future can bring to us. We're also really, enjoying what is there in front of us now.
That's so true. I think it's really one of the things that I've learned during this time is really to be, living in the present because you can't, with COVID right now, we know for a fact that, when things like that happen, you can't plan for the future, you know,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen next. But, we want to live in the present and we want to live feeling I've achieved something. I'm satisfied where I am right now. I think that is already the ultimate thing that a person can have in their life. I feel journey, right? What do you think? You've would seen women leaders. You would have worked with them. You would have seen them in your community. What do you think is the most like significant barrier for women in leadership?
I'm going to say something which may not be what you usually hear. I think the most significant barrier that women have in leadership is lack of patience. And the reason I say this is because if you really look at life in a very narrow context and a short term perspective, we may miss the fact that, what is in us, we may not even realize. So before I explain this, let me ask you this question. If you were sitting at a cafe and if I were to ask you, what is the chance of a family of three people, the husband being Caucasian, the wife being Indian, and the child being a son, walking through the door while we are in the cafe? What is the probability of that happening? What would you say? Or right this moment?
Oh, that
Would that be in a percentage, 10%, 100%? What would you say?
maybe less than 10%.
Less than 10%. But if I increase the timeline to say, what is the probability of that happening in the next 1 year? What would you say?
Then it should be more, maybe slightly more than 10%.
And if I said, what's the chance of that happening in the next 5 years? What would you say?
I would say that it would have more. Maybe during 5 years,
No.
it would be increased.
So I think forget about COVID and where we are right now. I'm just saying we are sitting at a cafe and everything is normal in this world. And I asked you what is the chance right now for somebody walking in, you would say less than 10%, as you mentioned. But
Yeah.
as I start saying, what is the chance of that happening in a year's time and then 5 years' time, suddenly we say the chances are high, isn't it?
Yeah, we say it's high because we think that there will be more frequency, more people walking in. Yeah.
So if patience, so if we really look at it, women are innate leaders. They are born leaders because each one of us is already managing a lot of things in our life. Now, with COVID, I'm working from home and so is my husband. But apart from working from home with whatever I need to do professionally, I am constantly managing my home and my child. You just witnessed me talking to my child just before we started. So we are naturally able to multitask and we are able to be compassionate and we are able to make things happen. So when we start thinking about our own self in a broader perspective, saying, hey, I am already a leader in so many aspects of my life. And if I work on some aspects, I have no doubt that I can be a very good leader everywhere. So just that patience, looking at life from a broader perspective and long term can really, really be a game changer.
That's really good. I would have never guessed it because a lot of people, when you talk about what's the barrier, they would say, "Oh, we are not given opportunities. We don't have the resources," But they will never look at a personality wise, like innate, looking at it itself and say that it could be a patience issue. And I agree with you because if you look at it, right, a lot of us we want things to be done right now. We don't have the patience, and
Yes.
sometimes to have good leaders, right, you need to persevere. You need to it takes time. It takes time to work on your weakness. It takes time to learn to build relationships. Yeah, and some people don't really have that patience to to get there.
If you start looking at life as, okay, I'm not able to do it right now. Yes, you can't do it right now. But if you say, okay, will I be able to do it? So sometimes I can tell you another example. Some parents come to me because I work with parents and children saying, my
Mm-hmm.
child's handwriting is 3 and it's really bad. What do I do? So when I ask them, what are the chances he's going to be writing very, very well when he's 10 or 15? It's very, very high. So let's not look at problems as like, right now I need to solve it. I just need to be calm and I need to apply myself and the right opportunities will come to me. And there's no doubt when I look at my life on a long-term basis, everything is out there for me. There's nobody stopping me to get that.
And I love that you're doing that because I think the peer pressure starts at a very young age because people are trying to groom them, and things have
Yeah.
changed, and people want to be influencers. People want to have that kind of views, be more confident and all that, and they think that imposing it as a young age, trying to put this person in a box and say, you know what, you need to. And it doesn't give them any area to grow. It stifles their growth because they cannot find
Yes.
the place of comfort where they can lead confidently and they can be themselves.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, as shocking as it can be, I would say it's lack of patience. And one side we may say, oh, women have been patient now for years together, right from ancient times. We have been patient. We have been facing a lot of, societal pressure and so on. All that said and done, nobody's taking it away. However, it's about this individually, if you ask me, lack of patience. If we have the patience, we will see that everything is possible. That's all it takes.
And besides this patience, right, what other characteristics do you feel that that kind of stifles a growth in a person?
I mean, talking about women leaders specifically, the other thing I feel that we sometimes forget, lose sight of, is the fact that we are multifaceted and we are leaders already in some aspect of our life. So
Mm.
they could be women who are fabulous, taking care of their homes, but they are struggling in their corporate. So when they're looking at their corporate thrive as a leader, I'm not able to do it, they've missed the point that they are the CEOs of their household. They have certain very, very special qualities that only we women have. And I would say, that also has to do with the fact that nature, for example, has bestowed this ability to give birth only to women. And what does that take? It takes patience, isn't it? No matter however fast you want it, you still have to wait out for 9 months. So that's patience already that is there in our life. The second is courage. Oh, women go through really a lot through that, pregnancy time and the delivery time. They go through it, and it's only them who can go through it. I'm not discounting any of the other abilities men have, but I would like us to look at what is something that we already have: patience, courage, and compassion. The moment the child is in this world, we forget whatever, how much of a batter our body has gone through, and we can be sleepless and we can take care. So when we translate this to leadership, leaders who are patient, leaders who are courageous, and leaders who are compassionate, don't you think will be the best leaders that people will want to work with?
I love it. I love how you portray that because this is so real, right? I mean, it's not something that we don't really have. I mean, I do agree with you because these are things that I mean, like for myself, maybe I might not encounter it. I've not been through that journey, but it's something that it's already in me. Actually, when a woman is ready to have a child, what happens is she's so expectant. She looks forward to the day. They buy things,
Yes.
preparing for the day. And as you agreed, the delivery time, sometimes the complications and all that, you can see. I have seen mothers, I mean, I've seen friends or women who are very timid and all that, and they have this strong ability when they actually go through the labor. It's so laborious, but they've gone through it, and then they come out and they've
Yes.
changed it. And can you imagine how powerful, how impactful that would be if someone actually carries that forward into a corporate sector, into a leadership form? Because if you can go through that, you can actually go through anything.
Exactly. And that's all I want to say, that nature has bestowed this amazing power which is only given to women. So all they have to do is recognize it, and they can just transfer that back. And if they have the patience, bring in the same patience, there is nothing stopping, because the courage is already there. Whether or not you're a mother, I would say that, because it's already given to you. You may choose not to really experience it in that form, but you have that ability.
And just want to say, I love that we are sharing this, right? But I think one of the things why a person doesn't is not able to fulfill that capacity is also because there's a self-doubt. There's this seeds of doubt in their lives. It could be, we've been speaking during my sections on different aspects of it. One of the things I spoke about is also childhood trauma. So sometimes past mistakes, things that happen in the past, or sometimes they feel like they don't have people who affirm them, so they are very doubtful of what they can do themselves.
Hmm.
So how would
Yeah.
a person like that, what would be the best way they can actually address this?
Yeah. So, Shivan, I would, I earlier spoke about, looking at life from a broad perspective, that is in terms of breadth. But it's not only women, every one of us need to look at also going inward. So if there is a trauma, for example, that is causing us to repeat a certain pattern, we have to take responsibility to overcome that, which could be in the form of any help we can take, could be mindfulness, it could be therapy, but wanting to get rid of that. So taking responsibility for one's own feelings and emotions is a very powerful way to live, because what that gives you is it thoroughly empowers you that you are responsible for your emotions and feelings and no one else. So when you get into that mindset, you will want to do something about it. You will take the right actions, and once you clear that baggage, you're again ready to come back to look at things broadly. So it is not to lose sight of the fact that there could be self-doubt, there could be some experience that could be stopping people. But I would say two things. Before you start looking broadly, look inward. Recognize that I need to take responsibility. I'm not feeling very good. There is an emotion which keeps coming up for me. I need to get rid of this. And it's my responsibility. The moment the responsibility shifts to us, we will want to do something about it. Until we think this happened to me because XYZ, somehow it's outside of us and we may not take the responsibility to address that. So I think the first and foremost step is to recognize that we are responsible for our own emotions and feelings, and we have to do something about it. Once that inner work is done, you're more clear about it, then you can look at, okay, look at my life from a broad perspective and look at life from a long term perspective. That's the patient. So, with these two, three factors coming in, I think it will really help anyone to really be able to overcome self doubt. And I also want to add that doubt is a very interesting thing, what is a doubt? Doubt is a gray area. It's neither black nor white. By that I mean, if something is already black, you know that there is no hope, there is no doubt. The very interesting thing about doubt is we often doubt things which are positive in life and seldom doubt things which are negative. So if somebody came up to you and say that, I really loved what you did, you'll think, really? But somebody said to you that, I hate you, you just are horrible. You will not doubt that, you'll take that at face value. So by that I mean that even, in terms of our own abilities, when there is a doubt, is happening because there is something good. Am I capable? When that question comes, this aspect of the fact that we doubt positive things can be handy. Hey, I'm doubting my capability. There must be something good out there. So let me, do some inner work. By inner work, I mean release some impressions maybe. And then you can, come back to it. It will go away if you really take responsibility.
So many people, when you talk to them and say, you know what, you're really good at this and that's where your talent, and they will ask you the same thing, are you sure? I don't think I'm that good. Maybe it's an Asian culture because we feel like we shouldn't blow our own.
Yeah.
That's what our parents will tell us, right? No, you don't have to, you cannot be too.
Yeah.
But I think it's really the foundation is very important, because if your foundation is not strong enough, you crumble very fast, and you take in whatever negative things people speak over you. And I've always, I think in my journey, what I've learned is, if I feel that that criticism or that remark is going to add into my life, it's going to improve my life, I take it. But if I feel like it's nothing to do with me and it's just a negative thing and I don't even agree with it, I just brush it aside, because I don't accept everything. Because at the end of the day, the more you accept it, you weigh down yourself, and it just kind of like breaks you down after a while.
Breaks you down after a while. And very beautifully said, if it is of some value to me, I take it. If it is not, I don't. And this is where people have a problem, because they're really, really bothered about others' opinions. The interesting thing about others' opinions is, if you really look at your own opinion, Shivon, you may have had an opinion about someone, which may have been great, let's say at the start, but something happened and your opinions changed about them. Or the other way around, you didn't begin with a great opinion, but then that changed over time. But when we again think opinions are cast in stone, oh my God, people have these opinions about me. But what if you shift into that thinking, opinions change, they are not cast in stone. Like my own opinions change, others' opinions can change too. That's another way to get freedom from these opinions, I would say. They change, they are not cast in stone.
And people are so I think caught up, because I think we've gone into a social media age, right, where affirmation comes in the form of likes. How many likes do you get? How many looks, when you do a post, whether if people look at it, whether they share it, we view our success based on that. That's why when I actually start something like this, one of the things that I told myself is, I'm never going to see how many likes or how many subscribers or what, because it's not the end goal. The end goal, like like when we start this, is basically to empower someone, and that person might not even subscribe or might not even like it, but as long as we know that it's reached out to someone, I think that's the best thing. Because sometimes a lot of people do it on face value. They can like, they can share. I've seen people send you this spam messages, like this like long lengthy spam message, encouraging messages. Sometimes people don't even read it, they just share it on, they just pass it on. And to me, it depicts the whole purpose, because it's sent for you to read and to actually be encouraged. But if you're not reading, just sharing in, nobody benefits it. The best way is still the word of mouth, because if just say I'm impacted by something, and I will share it to everyone, and then when people log on or do that, they will want to hear it. and when they benefit from it, they will continue to share. And the process might be very slow, but it's very sure.
There again, exactly what you meant, what I've been saying. You're saying the same thing, and it's so wonderful to hear. Like you said, I'm not bothered about what's happening now. Eventually, it will make sense. If my intent is good, I have a good intention, and I'm doing this on a regular basis for good intention. If I look at it saying, will somebody want to do it? Like, will it, in 1 year's time, will there be a chance that more people will watch what I'm sharing? Definitely. But if you start looking at nobody liked my video today, then that really brings down your energy to want to do. So you lose the purpose of why you're doing it. Yeah.
Just do you feel, when women, right, how can they actually not let their self-doubt or their insecurities, right, interfere with their work? In this circumstance, for example, like, I don't get disheartened when I don't see traction in whatever I do. But some people do get disheartened, and then the insecurities come in because they try to compare themselves with other people. And that's why they try to do the same thing. They kind of follow, and I never believe in following a specific model, because a lot of people will give you ideas and say that, try this coach does it this way, this coach has this best idea. I mean, every coach is different, but you people actually speak from experience. But when I am just going to take whatever someone gives me, without having a foundation, without understanding myself, and just copy and paste it, that's not going to work, because we are wired in a different way.
And you just gave the answer, understanding oneself. And that's really the way I have, operated the last few years, I would say 10 to 12 years. Anytime I'm off my center, and off my center could be I'm feeling jealous, or I'm feeling that, somebody did this to me, they shouldn't have done. Then I think the awareness to say, okay, great. Is this good for me? Is this actually helping me? Is it of value? If we ask ourselves this question, what is this? What value is this thought adding to me? I'm not feeling very good, and what value is this adding to me? And then I would go back to taking responsibility for one's feelings. It could be each of us, based on whenever we feel that we are not clear in our head, something has upset us, can really ask this question: what value is this adding to me, to my life? And I'm sure 10 out of 10 times it will be no value. And then you say, okay, what do I want to do about it? Yeah.
And as you are talking about this, right, because we've gone past that path, we've crossed that bridge. So we are well aware when we feel like, oh my God, like, I'm going through this emo stage, or I'm going to have this self-pity. We kick ourselves out immediately and say, no, I have to get out of it before it causes further damage. But what about people who are not there yet? What are some practical, tips that they can do to to keep them on track, I would say?
I would say, Shivon, that, really, really be, don't hesitate to ask for help and talk about it. This morning I was reading about Michelle Obama. And when I looked her up, the first thing that came was that Michelle Obama has talked about suffering from low-grade depression. Now, when we read that, the first thought which comes is, oh my God, this is not very good. But the way I read it is fabulous. She's showing her vulnerability. She's saying this to people. And all those people who are feeling that state of depression are going to link to that to say, hey, it can happen to her, it's happening to me, and it's okay, I need to talk about it. So find someone who would be able to talk to you. And there are so many ways to get help. So, I'm also in the field of mindfulness. I teach meditation. So people routinely come to my courses saying, I don't feel energetic on a daily basis. I'm lacking enthusiasm. I just felt that I need to do something about it. And they took a step. So if you're not able to yourself resolve it, but you're feeling that something is amiss, I think the simplest step is ask for help. If it is in your family, go there first. If not, go to your friend's circle or beyond. But don't keep it to yourself and think you need to deal with it.
And I believe that sometimes it's good to have, like, accountability. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have accountability, when you have a circle of friends who are walking this journey with you, and I share this to people a lot, when you are going on a journey of, trying to find yourself or trying to, rebuild something in your life, have someone that you can trust to walk that journey with you. Because you see, any things, right? Be even like AA, for example, you have an accountability partner, because the day you feel like you are tempted, you want to do something, you have someone to call you, and this person knows you very well, and who will be able to, like, help you in that way, to encourage you, motivate you. I think that's so important.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't have to be a drastic thought. It can be as simple as I am not feeling energetic on a daily basis. When I get up in the morning, I feel terrible. Now, this happened to me when I was in, several years ago in London. Was still working as an IT consultant. Waking up in the morning was just not what I look forward to. But when I went to work, I was a different person, right? Because I wore that, I have to be assertive, I have to be this and that. But when I came back home, again, it plagued me. Now, this something was something which really made me wonder what is wrong. And later, many years later, when I spoke to my colleagues who I used to work with at that time, and I shared this with them, you know what they said? We had no idea. You used to come to work and you used to be this energetic person. I had no idea that you were going through this. Now, in my case, I recognized there was something amiss. I spoke to my spouse. I took some actions about it because I just wasn't enjoying anything. But what I want to say is that nobody is going to even know because they're only seeing a different side of you. So unless you speak about it, there's no chance you can get help.
And I like that. And I really like how you share that, which is really true, because a lot of times we women are very, I think we are very good at masking our emotions. So whatever happens at home, you can have, sometimes you
Absolutely, yeah.
wives coming from domestic abuse, all that. And, you never know what's happening in their homes, because when they come out to work, they are a different person. They do their jobs well, they function well. And sometimes you have the opposite as well. You have women who come into work and they have no energy. They are like, really not very competent, but at home, they are just a different person.
They're
And
completely different. Yeah.
it's all finding that, really finding, not only like, it's more like finding a purpose and finding what are you good at, and really trying to use that to your, advantage, I think. Because I feel like for yourself, you've identified, what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and after you do that, it naturally comes on board. You wake up feeling like, I'm looking forward to another day because I feel like I can use my skills, I'm going to learn something new. And there's a drastic change in your mindset even before you step out of the home.
Yes, absolutely. And that's really what, makes me say this with conviction because it works. I have been there where
Yeah.
things didn't work and I could have just gone on saying that this is how life is. Life is overwhelming. Life is tiring. I said, no, it cannot be this way. I would say you spoke about acceptance. I went from acceptance to non-acceptance. I said, I do not accept this. I want it to change. And that's really where, I found that there is a way. We just need to really wake up and see, and we start looking at life. The other day, a friend of mine was saying we went to play badminton, and she was saying that I wish I had started this when I was 20 years old. I could have been, I could have really excelled. I said, I have no regret because at that time in 20s, I had no inspiration. Today, I'm inspired and I'm happy to just embrace what is in front of me. And if I look at it saying next year, this time, will I be better at playing badminton? No doubt. Maybe today I can't hit the shot.
And that's a very positive way of looking at anything, because you see, sometimes when we feel like, oh, if I've only have known this like 10 years ago, or if I've only learned this. But the thing is, right, it doesn't matter whichever stage you are at. When you come to that realization, right, when you work on it, right, you still have so much more time to go. It doesn't matter, like, whether at whichever age you are at, whether you are in your 50 or 60s. And now you see there's this trend where people who are, the more mature, women are really coming out to do more things. And you see them speaking, you see them writing, doing creative work and all that. So it doesn't matter, how old you are, because age is really a number. And basically, as long as you feel like I have found something and I want to do this, right? You just have to keep yourself going. And even if that duration could be very short, I still think that it would make up for it. There's no time that's been lost. Nothing has been like kind of lost, I feel.
So it's like you could have 10 years of, something that you don't enjoy doing and not really enjoy doing, enjoy yourself. That, or 1 year of enjoying yourself. And that 1 year will be more valuable. So definitely, like you said, the time just makes up for it. It's the state of the mind, literally, not really to do with anything else. And I'm also into music, right? And when I was younger, either it was lack of opportunity or I wasn't inspired enough to do something. But today, when I look at it, I say, okay, what can I do today? So I do some music videos with my daughter. My daughter thinks it's a little embarrassing to sing with me, but it doesn't matter. I just let myself go because I feel these are just, it's coming from inside. I don't care whether they are people liking it. I'm doing it because it just brings me sheer joy. That's it.
Love it. Very good.
And we can bring this kind of attitude everywhere, Shimon.
Mm.
And I think there's no barrier in my mind.
And what inspires you, Anupama? I mean, I've heard from you in your journey and all that. So what keeps you going in the morning?
Um, I just am a very self-motivated, inspired person. And I think what really keeps me going is the fact that I just enjoy doing everything I do, right from my cup of coffee in the morning, which I enjoy drinking, to maybe having a small chat with my husband. Because we're very busy, we don't really get to that, that quality time. We're not really striving to get some quality time. It's just that moment in really before this short chat which I had was important for me. I just completely attended to her. And I know she went away from the room not being very happy. But still, I did what I could in that moment, and I will go and take care of her after this call. So it's that living with no regret, looking at life from a longer perspective, saying, hey, what are the chances that I'm going to be playing excellent badminton in 1 year's time? And that is a yes, and that inspires me. So I like to go for my badminton class with as much gusto as someone would do who is competitive, right? I only started so late, but I think it's very important. And the thing is, I've never played sports before, so I'm just getting into it for the very first. Did I have doubts saying, should I do it? But I just dropped it saying, what the hell? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to enjoy the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. So I guess that's what really keeps me motivated to just take life as it comes and looking at life from a very broad perspective. I have no qualms telling my daughter that, when she once came back from school and she said, Mom, they were talking about dad being the head of the house. But in our house, it's not like that. So I said, yeah, I am the head of the house. I am the night fury. Okay. So sometimes I will let your dad handle it. Now, this is true about majority of the households. But do we really look at it like that? What are most women thinking? They have overshadowed that. They are thinking, oh, I'm not good enough somewhere else. You're good enough in some place, and there's no doubt you'll be good enough some other place. Just give yourself that time and that broad perspective.
I really like what we've shared so far, especially on that key thing, which is really what brings you joy. And, going forward and to do anything right with the mindset that, you know what, I'm going to excel in this. I think that half the battle is won, when you go into something and instead of going with that self-doubt or the fear of like, what if I fail? What if I can't hit that, that shuttlecock, or, what if I can't do this? What if I'm going to be embarrassed? But instead of going in with that confidence, like, you know what, I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to nail this. It's going to be good. And, your whole mindset changes because even if you make a mistake, you will look at it in a positive way. It's not going to bring you down. It's not going to affect how you're going to, whether you're going to continue to play or not. And I think all this really comes with experience. All this comes with having that journey, finding that inner peace, and finding that joy in yourself. Really comes from that place. And for yourself,
Yes.
do you have a quote that you live by, that you're motivated by?
Recently, I mean, there are many quotes that have inspired me, but since the writing of the Becoming book, Michelle Obama had written this saying, becoming is never giving up. I just have it in front of me on the idea that there's more growing to do. Becoming is never giving up on the idea that there's more growing to do. So life is vast, life is short. So don't really say that I will do it some other time. Life is short, so just seize the opportunity. And at the same time, life is vast. Don't get bogged down. So if you, that is very inspiring for me because it is a journey. It is not that you have become, you're becoming, and there's no end to that.
That's so good. And as we are coming to the end of the section, right, is there any practical or key takeaways that you want to share with the viewers out there?
Absolutely. I would just recap what I spoke about. Whenever you're looking at anything like, I lack this and I lack that, just ask yourself, what do I need to do to build this skill? And if I applied myself, is there a chance that I'll be good at this in 1 year's time, 5 years' time? So to have a long-term vision. Secondly, look at your life from a broader perspective. There are so many areas you're excelling. And when you look at it holistically, because we are actually who we are from all our experiences, not just one. Your identity is not just your corporate title or, whether you're working or not. It's much more than that. So look at life from a broader perspective. And thirdly, I would say, if you're not yet ready to look at life from a broader perspective, you can't think long term, then maybe you need to do some inner work. So take responsibility for your own feelings, ask for help, and do whatever you need to feel that sense of equilibrium, that sense of equanimity, so that you're just unstoppable.
Just loved it. And I do hope viewers would have benefited from this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share Anupama's media, the social links in terms of what she do on coaching and all that. We'll share it on all my social media platforms. And I believe that, if you feel like you want to have a chat with her, please go ahead and reach out to her. I really love the work that she's doing. She's doing an amazing work. And I think it really comes from a place, and she's come from a corporate sector. She knows what it's like. She's a mom. She has a family. She knows what it's like to be juggling both things, and at the same time trying to find that peace, trying to find herself, enjoying what she's doing, and also have a lot of time to actually go and pursue other activities like playing badminton
And music too. So it's all possible. Yes,
Yes, thanks so
absolutely.
much.
And I completely enjoyed chatting with you, and it was really, really interesting to see that you radiate so much of what we were talking about in your own life. So I wish you all the best, and I really look forward to staying in touch with you.
All right, thanks so much, and I do look forward to keeping in touch as well. I do articles and all that, and yeah, maybe there could be some potential collaboration we can do. Hopefully, when this when we have more people, we can attend like an event. We can definitely host a section somewhere, like a live
Absolutely.
session. Where
I would be glad to. Yes. And I would also look to seeing, how we can collaborate with my work. So we'll keep those channels open. And we never know. We just have to hope and we just have to be. That's it.
Yes, I do agree with you. And thanks so much for being on this show. And for viewers out there, I strongly encourage you to actually like, subscribe, and share it to women, especially women who needs to hear this, women who needs to be liberated from what they are going through. Let's just do our part to actually help other women to shine wherever they are.
Thank you, Shivon.
Thanks so much, Anupama.